Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Grassi, and I have a wonderful show planned out for you guys tonight. I got a repeat guest. He's a very talented comic creator. We have looked at his books every time they've come out. Um, and you know what? Let's just bring him on because the books are fantastic. And let me just find my mouse, what screen it's on here. And let's bring on James Burton. Hey,
Hola, Michael.
hey, how you doing, man?
I am doing good. It's been a
Yeah,
busy summer, but working my way through it.
that's great. Same here. Same here. So, first off, thank you for coming back on. You got a new Kickstarter that we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yep.
Um, but first, if anybody in the audience has missed who you are, give us a little background on you.
Okie dokie. My name is James Burton. I am one of the creators for Scattered Comics. And I work on the Ballad of Nod books with my sister Kira, and a friend of mine edits it. And we're trying to make something that reminds us of our childhood and is special at the same time. My previous books, I did a slow burn award-winning horror name Inheritance. I did uh, Damage Incorporated. I've been on a lot of Orange Cone anthologies. I do a lot of the Cthulhu books. I'm the guy who drew the crazy evil chicken in the first Cthulhu book. Um, and I've been both an editorial illustrator and a commercial illustrator, as well as I've been basically drawing comic books since I was like 5 and not knowing that's what I was doing.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, listen, you got a lot of good credentials as an, and, like I even said in the what's it called in your bio, you're award winning. Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about that, or you want to be a little you don't need to talk about it. Be a little more.
No, I don't mind talking about it. I just it's not something I talk about all the time.
Okay.
Um, but the Action on Film Festival is a film festival that's been around for quite a while here in California. And they chose one year to make a category for comics. And my co-writing partner at the time decided to submit it without telling me. And he put the book in, and I found out I was competing against the guys who made what's Fury Road. Fury Road.
Okay.
They had a side project with George Miller and George Miller's son to also make a comic book, and we were the two finalists battling it out during that thing. And I had no idea that there was something like I can't even remember how many artists were on his book. And I got lucky and beat them out because I made everything in that book except the writing. I
Okay.
did I did the lettering, I did the backgrounds, I did the inks, I did the pencils, I did the shading, everything. It was me. And so we turned out a victory and won it in LA, a little town outside of LA. Um, and it was kind of a shock to my system when we won it. I had no idea that was coming. Um, that was a little bit ago. I've been on multiple anthology teams that have been nominated um, for a couple of other things, and I'm pretty proud that we've been able to do all of that, and excited for the fact that I get to keep, because I like to make independent work. I don't do a lot of I don't do any work for any of the big two stuff because I don't really enjoy the experience of working on projects where I have so little input and control.
Mm.
Um, if you look at, for example, the Ballad of Nod, the drawings aren't exactly on model every time because it's a dream world. I want it to feel surreal. So while it is on model, there are loose changes as the book goes on and evolves. Um, and I'm just proud that I'm in all of that. And Eli used to be one of the Scattered creators, and now he's doing this thing called Scattered Nexus, where he's got a game, and I've got illustrations in there. We're part of that one, and I'm just happy to be involved in so many things.
All right, that's awesome. Hey to Dylan who's watching.
Really.
Yeah, no, it's you've done a lot. And he says hi to you too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, listen, you're a writer, you're an artist, you do it all, which is fantastic, and you also work well with others because this project, you like you said, is done with a couple of people. You are working currently on the Ballad of Nod, which, if I remember correctly, because you've been on the show a few times with the other books, and if I am wrong, please correct me.
No
But this
problem.
kind of started out as a story for you to tell your kid, correct?
It did. What happened was in 2007, I got stage 4 cancer,
Yeah.
and I fought it. I survived it. I'm grateful, by the way. I mean, I lost all my material possessions in the process, but I'm still breathing, which there's
Yeah.
nothing but joy in that category. However, right after the chemo, right after the radiation and all that, I had just started healing, and then I lost, in a space of a year, both my grandparents,
Oh,
my mother, my father, and my house, all at
wow.
the same time.
Jeez.
And it was a very long year, very frustrating. And I didn't know how to talk to my daughter, who was born when I got diagnosed. And it turned into me trying to tell her bedtime stories. And as a result, the idea of the ballad now began to form, and it
Mhm.
occurred in her bedtime stories. It was very different. Where, like, for example, she would travel through a tree to go to the dream world and things like that. Um, and it didn't really have a shape. It was just a feeling that I wanted to convey. And the stories were basically different every time, but they always started with her and her teddy bear. And Kira and I had been estranged before I got sick. We were raised, God, chaos isn't the word. It's We were raised in a combination of Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy. I'm not kidding. um, and as a result, none of us really were that close. None of my siblings. And when I got sick, I got much closer to Kira in the process. And as we started talking, she's actually a very good writer, and she's um, more educated than I am. And she's got a lot of writing structure knowledge and um, understanding of the dynamics that go into poetry and all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
So in the conversation, even though I know how to make a page turn, which is a foreign concept to most writers outside of comics,
Yeah.
and even though I know how to do all of that, I needed help getting things into the right shape to get the story to go from A to B to Z to E. And she brought in a lot of that, and she also has a much firmer grasp on how to keep characters their age when they talk. I do not. I'm like Kevin Smith. Everybody has the same voice. And she helped me fine tune those ideas and keep the main character, Faye, sounding like an 8 or 10 year old girl instead of the story moving so fast that she ages like 8 years in the story.
Yeah.
She's always telling me, no, no, James, you can't talk like that. She's only this. Let's talk it through and see if we can find a different way. So she's helped me out a lot with Faye's dialogue, and she's the one who's come up with some of the things we interact with in the book. And right now, she and I are working on the story for the finale. We're in the writing phase for issue 5 and 6, and I'm drawing issue 4. I'm like 20% done, where everything escalates and we get to see a lot more of the why stuff is going on.
Okay.
And the story itself is about that journey about a girl who loses her father, and because she lost his father, because she went through a sickness and she went through all of that, there's a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety from that, and that attracts a lot of bad energy. So the story is about the nightmares coming for her and about her teddy bear who wakes up to defend her, and he gets drug into the dream world, so she goes after him to try to save him. And the main story is about the journey to find him, get him back, and how they come home.
Wow. That's a great story. And I love that you use the fears that come from being sick as kind of motivation. Obviously, you dealt with it yourself.
Yeah,
Um, I'll tell you, it's the reason I'm an artist. I'm not gonna lie.
twice. The reason?
Yeah, I grew up. I've always said God gave me 9 good days, and then my life went to hell. I was no, literally, like at 10 days old, I had a staph infection. I had childhood epilepsy where I'd have head seizures. By the time I was 8 years old, they discovered I had a kidney disease. I've had 2 kidney transplants. The second has left me, even though I'm stable, I've developed type 2 diabetes. I have arthritis in my knees and hips. After COVID, getting COVID and stuff, some of the stuff that I was prone to later in life happened earlier. I've had a quadruple bypass. Like I've literally lived in hospitals. I don't want to say like lived like long time, but I've had long stints in hospitals. I've I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot physically,
Yeah.
medically, like recovery and everything like that. And like you were saying, you're still breathing. It's here, but I couldn't participate in like sports as a kid, and art was my escape. So, like I always drew. My parents tell me I've been drawing since I can hold a pencil. All right. So about 2 years old, I've always had something in my hand, a crayon, whatever. I always kind of geared towards that. But when I remember, and I've always loved cartoons and I love the newspaper strips, but I remember being in the hospital when I was in second grade when they discovered my kidney disease. And my dad, he worked in a school, he was a guidance counselor. And one day he came with a box that people at his job, his secretaries, and all these people just kind of gave stuff to me. I remember I got my 18 Mr. T action figure and Murdoch back then.
I'm jealous.
But I also got a Mad magazine. And, I didn't understand everything. I was only 8 years old, but I was able to understand Sergio's work, Sergio Aragones. And I got it and I laughed. And all I wanted to do was that after seeing Sergio's work.
Sergio's a genius. I have the first 100 issues of Gru in my garage.
That's awesome. I don't
Yeah.
know how many issues I have. I got a lot of them. I try to collect as much as I can. I have, and that's like the one thing that I collect is anything with Sergio's name on it. And I have a lot of. I just bought, and I'm really pissed because I have to return it. Um, I bought off Amazon Gru versus the Gods because I don't have a comic shop near me. And the reason was my comic shop closed before I can get issue 4, which was the last issue. So I have issues 1, 2, and 3, and I don't have 4. So I bought the trade, and because now Amazon doesn't deliver themselves in robots pack, it wasn't packed well. It was curled up in my mailbox. And because it was curled, it broke the spine. It did. So I got to go to Kohl's, in a day or so, maybe this weekend, and drop it off as a return and see if I can get another somewhere else.
Yeah. There's a lot goes into making sure the comics arrive good. Like
Yeah.
when we pack books,
Mhm.
I spend a lot on Geminis. Do I have any? I guess I don't have any, but I have to get special packaging, and it's
Yeah.
made for them and things like that. And you want to keep floppies in presentable condition. And I don't think Amazon understands floppies. I'm sure they may deal with graphics differently, but yeah, it's a challenge to get something as fragile as a floppy where it needs to go unless it's in like really hard cases.
Yeah.
Like I remember the very first Kickstarter I ever ran, I had so much trouble using the post office because it was before we had Geminis. It was older than that, and a lot of there were. I remember getting into huge arguments with the guys at the post office because things were getting destroyed. I shipped a book set to Germany, I think like 4 times. They never got there.
Oh.
I do not know what happened.
That is, yeah.
And you know, it's kind of frustrating to go through all of that, but when you're doing it for something that you love, there's another element about being perseverant in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, being in a place like what you're talking about being understanding your mortality and getting used to going through all of those situations, you learn I'm going to survive this.
Yeah.
And while big changes and big problems are always scary, because they are, there is a faith in knowing that something can be survived. And it's a faith that a lot of us, when we're growing up, get robbed of. And we have to, in a way, I don't want to say earn it back, but more like learn it back. And when you get raised in that crazy, chaotic environment, that is one of the things you have to learn later on. Like, otherwise, everything is an emergency and everything is a problem and everything is a hill to die on.
Yeah.
And when you go through those things, you learn them. Like, the first thing when you mentioned all those experiences, the thing that popped into my head was, I wonder if he ever got left alone in a hallway for 4 or 5 hours in a hospital bed and couldn't talk and just had to wait till somebody found him. I wonder how often that happens, because I didn't expect to have that happen, and I did. But other people I've talked to, that's actually way more common than I thought.
It is 100%. It's happened a couple of times to me,
Yes,
especially when you go to the ER and they're crowded and
yeah.
you get left in the hallway, and it's. I don't want to bring it down and talk about all this stuff, but going through all this stuff and going through everything that I've been through, I will say, and it's funny because you're telling a story about where fear comes from being sick, and stuff. I try not to think about it. So when I write my stories, I try not to make that like kind of the motivation for it. What I tend to do though, when I write, and this is the reason I do like kid-friendly stuff or family-friendly, is because in my head, I'm writing for the 8-year-old Michael who is stuck in the hospital, who can't get out to because back, in the old days, I mean, now they have like kid rooms and stuff, but in the old days,
did not have that when we were
you didn't
kids.
have that. They had a little room where you had like checkers, and if maybe another patient was in there, you got to play, but you just sat in a room by yourself and had to entertain yourself.
That's true. But one of the things about why I chose to show what it felt like in the hospital, for example, in the third book, there's little pieces, little memories. They're supposed to tell a story to Faye when she has a decision to make. That's when they pop up, right? Whether they're about her father teaching her about monsters, or they're about her remembering what it was like very fastly growing up and deciding not to leave Patches, her teddy bear, in the nightmare world in Nod, or it's about her choosing what she's willing to face in Nod. And when those memories happen, and she remembers different challenges with her father, because even those things, even though those things were hard,
Yeah.
they still teach us that there is this strength inside of us that allows us to keep going. And they teach us, the wisdom of the people who came before us, and they teach us the connection to our families, and they connect to us emotionally. And even though they are based on hard things, like in the third one, she goes to see her father and he's lost his vision, because that happened to
Yeah.
me.
I
And
remember. I think you told me that story last time.
yeah, I had blocked that out of my mind for years, and one of my friends reminded me about it, and so I made sure it landed in the book, because it is scary.
Yeah.
But even though her father goes through that, when he knows that she's there, he lights up, and she hugs him, and they talk and things like that. So even when those things are going to happen, there's still a light that can be found from it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I loved about the stories that were more common in the 80s and 70s is that they weren't afraid to let kids have something bad happen to them, but allow them to find a way to rise up from it.
Yeah.
And some stories are good at doing that, even now, but it's not a common thing. And uh, taking kids into the dark place before their courage brings them out, there's a point to it. I mean, all the fairy tales, all the stories that people got raised on, like back in the day, they were
Yeah.
scary for a reason. And now they were scary to be a population control mechanic to a certain degree. But
Mhm.
the ones that stuck, the ones that became famous, are the ones where something good happened at the end. They took, like Hansel and Gretel is a great example. That was just scary, man. That
Yeah.
being locked in a cage so you can be food. That is the kind of crap that permanently scars people when they think about it when they're kids,
Yeah.
right? But the fact that their courage, that or Gretel stood up for herself and outthought the witch, and then took advantage of an opportunity, and then immediately rescued her brother. That's the kind of thing that you want kids to know they can do, because everybody, doesn't matter who you are,
Yeah.
everybody is going to be on that hospital bed.
Yeah.
It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And having the courage to stand up and do what you have to do to be able to survive that situation, either mentally or physically, that
Mhm.
comes from those places of strength. And without those memories, hello, J-Mail, thank you. And without those memories, it's difficult to find that kind of strength. And that's the point, and that's what I want
Yeah.
my kids to remember. They're too young to remember me being sick. So
Yeah.
the point of doing Nod and putting those stories in is to help teach them you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And Kier gives me crap all the time about the fact that there is wonder in the books, but there's a lot of fear as well. And she's always trying to remind me to bring out more of the wonder, bring out more of the wonder, bring out more of the things, like a talking hamster. That's pretty that's pretty out there. But
Yeah.
those things, having those things next to the dark and next to the things to be afraid of, that that give that shows you that life is mixed like that as well. Because when you're in that hospital bed, as you were, it's hard to remember that. It's hard to see it. Even when you get out, there's people. I struggle with it, trying to stay present.
Yeah.
Most of the time my head is either in the future or in the past. One of the reasons why I ride motorcycles, and one of the reasons why I practice martial arts and stuff like that, is because in those moments when you're doing that, you have to be present. It forces you to be. And for someone like me with that kind of traumatic past, being forced to be present is a relief.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I see it. Yeah, I agree with you 100% too. Um, because I think I live so much in a fantasy world, creating artwork. Whether I'm creating artwork, writing a story, working on something for someone else, that I need to take a break and remember, you know, like you said, be present. Reality's happening around me. I have a wife. I have things like I got to remember. I got to leave that fantasy world sometimes. But for me, that's my escape. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, I write for that 8-year-old me, or just any child stuck in a hospital. That's how I see myself. That's how
Yeah.
where I would love my work to go. Is just if my work, if I could be paid to create art, to have printed, to be just distributed to children's hospitals for kids to forget they're there for a little bit, I would be the happiest man on the planet. You
Well,
know?
that's another thing about why I do this is
Yeah.
Kira does a lot of social work.
Hmm.
It's her career, and she's doing a lot of things with kids now who have really bad situations.
Hmm.
And I every book we print, I donate a bunch of them to like her library at work, which she and the other social workers bring kids to. And so they read the books there, and it's had an impact where I've had both adults and children come and tell me that it meant a lot to them. And it, that feeling isn't something that can easily be duplicated in any other way.
Yeah.
Um, Being able to help inspire and help people process their emotions is an invaluable function of what artists do. And to
Hmm.
know that it helps people, to know that they develop in their own ways, that's I couldn't ask for a better impact.
Yeah.
I would love to have a $10,000 Kickstarter go like overnight, but you know what? I would trade that for helping a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
that is invaluable.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm one of those people where like I do a show and then I end up just giving stuff away half the time because
I, I
it's a kid and I'm like I feel bad, and I try to price things reasonably, but it's a little kid and I'm like, hey, just take something, and I give them like a low price something for free so they can go away with from the show with something.
I would, dude. I'm one of those either or people. It's hard to do to find where those lines are drawn, and I've had Kira like, you know, kind of identify when those situations need to occur and
Hmm.
when I need to pay attention. And but when I see them and when I do them, it means a lot to me. I had this one 12-year-old come to my table where she just wanted to talk to another artist about what she was doing. That was why she was there. And I recognized it and talked to her and did a portfolio review and things like that. And it 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 went so well. I miss going to the cons for that reason.
Yeah.
I miss seeing my friends, and I miss being at the cons and everything like that. I am scared to death to go back. Scared to death.
Yeah.
Now that I've had that stroke,
Mhm.
that was so hard to come back from. I don't want to be like I just don't want to have to fight through the illness that invariably comes after those big events. I can't miss like 2 weeks of work after a
Yeah.
con, that kind of thing, and it's just I want it so bad. That's the thing I miss the most is those the 8-year-old with his grandmother, the 12-year-old who's clutching a drawing book as she's walking around, and things like that. Those are the moments that I miss the most.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, listen, I'll say this about shows. I've been doing them since '97. If I never go to another show again, I would be okay with that. But
There's a lot of stress about it.
and I don't mind, and walking though, is the same thing. If you just go to walk a show, I now with the arthritis and stuff, it hurts. It hurts to be on my feet all day. It hurts to be, well, not really. My feet hurt, but my legs and stuff. It hurts to do a show. I just did one, and I had a cane there, but I walked with a cane for another like 2 weeks after. So but I'm like you. I did a show a few weeks ago, and it was the same thing with the kids. I do kids sections, and I sit down and I do workshops with kids, and I also sell cartooning. Well, I say cartoon, but art lessons, and I ended up selling some lessons, because of these workshops, and I'm now working with. I think he's 13 years old. Yesterday was my first class with him. He was a great kid. Really was eager to learn what I'm showing him, and but and yeah, of course, I want to get paid, but it's just awesome that I get to hang out and not just with friends, but to meet these kids, just like you were saying with the girl holding the book and sitting down and talk. I get to talk to these kids who really just want to grow up and do what we do. You know what I mean? Like they just want to tell their own stories. So I enjoy that I could help them out and be there to inspire.
I really enjoy, like, I've got Keith Carmona. He was a teacher here in Sacramento. He's a part of Scatter Comics, great dude. And he used to arrange every year time for me to come in and talk to his students and then do portfolio reviews with him about their projects. I loved it. Even the smartasses, I still laughed, and because teenagers, there's always got to be some kind of friction with teenagers. Yeah. But I still enjoyed it. Like any time you can work with somebody who's in that frame of mind and that who's looking for their path, I enjoy that, and it's something that I think people concentrate too much on how to maximize the profit of their book or their project or movie or whatever they're doing, and the effect is lost. Because like right now, for example, the Marvel movies are a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they make $1 billion, they don't turn a profit. And so trying to do things to maximize it and try to and manipulate anything they can to try to get it to up to that point, like but somewhere along the lines they forget the effect that they're trying to generate with people and to contribute to society in a positive way. I mean, there was the whole thing about Zeus teaching Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder. They cut it out for whatever reason. They filmed it, but was it the right thing to cut it out? I don't know.
That movie could have been helped a lot by maybe some extra scenes. So.
Maybe I didn't really need to have naked Thor on a platform. That wasn't the original script at all. Yeah. He was supposed to walk with Thor or walk with Zeus and learn a bunch of lessons. But no, they traded that. Why did they trade that? To give Zeus an excuse to send Hercules out to Thor and get another sequel.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we could sidetrack onto that in the storytelling of Marvel and DC movies and all that. And listen, that's just a lecture I have waiting to be like a rant lecture waiting one day. But yeah, I won't go into it. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying about how people go into the shows really for different reasons. Sometimes it's about money. A lot of the people, and I feel this way about artists, writers, whoever, they forget being the person on the other side of the table, looking at the stuff and getting excited and like having those dreams of I want to do these things. So, and I'll never forget. And we're gonna get off this little sidetrack tangent and get to the Ballad of Nod in a moment. But I'm gonna.
Oh my goodness, we got distracted by artistic integrity.
But I'll tell you this, and I might have said this to you before on another show. But when I was 16, I went to my first convention, had my first portfolio review. I brought it to an artist that I will not name, but back in 1992, I believe it was, when I was 16, I was a huge fan. And I will tell you, just because I was asked at the show, I was telling the story to someone at the show I was at. No, it was not Neil Adams. Um, this guy tore me a new one. Said I was terrible. I'll never work in the industry. I was almost in tears with how bad he was. I'm like, dude, I'm learning. This is kind of what I was trying to say. I'm like, because I was like, listen, I know I'm not great, but what can I work on? That's how I approached him.
Yeah,
I'm like, can I get your advice?
The internet was just happening. We didn't have a library of what to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, and he's like, you'll never work. Your anatomy's terrible. This is bad. Blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. And a guy a couple of tables away, he saw what happened. He was an artist and mostly a writer, but he has an art background. And he's like, hey, can I see your book? And I said, nah, it kind of sucks. He's like, no, and he convinced me to show it to him. And he said, listen, you're not on professional level yet, but this is what you need to work on. And if you practice, you can get onto professional level. He goes, and then he quietly said, listen, I saw what happened. He goes, let me tell you something. That guy's a really good artist. He knows how to draw well, but he doesn't know how to. He goes, but what he saw was you have potential to be his competition. So he was knocking you out early. And I didn't think of it that way. And when I went into education, my approach was to never try to knock someone out. If someone's not good, I got to let them know that they need to work. And
but there's
a way to talk about it. Yeah.
There is a choice people make in how they treat others.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you'd have come up and been a dick to that guy, him being a dick back, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. But you were just a kid looking for some advice, taking up some of his time and asking him, and it didn't go well because of the way the guy behaved. I had that exact same experience, and it derailed me for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. And about that same age, I met with a professional, and now as an adult. Mm-hmm. This professional, I have outsold him at cons, and I feel good about it.
Yeah.
And he and I don't get along. I have specifically asked at cons not to be sat next to him because he and I just were water and oil, and we've been at the same cons a lot. And I've had like dozens of people in my booth when he didn't. Because he's been lucky. He's gotten some work from certain book titles. I'm not going to say who it is because I can figure out who it was. And he's done those things, and I'm glad he's been able to do that. But, dude, you don't do that to the 17-year-old. You don't tell them they're worthless. Yeah. You tell them what they have to work on. Like you said, you're not at a professional level yet. Here's what you should work on. That makes sense. Even being specifically, hey, I don't think this or this is right. You're not making this way at all. Even if somebody is going to be harsh, I can take harsh. But there's a difference between harsh and saying, hey, you suck. You suck here. You suck here. You suck here. Work on this. And do all the rest of this part. This is what you need to focus on. That's harsh. When it's not harsh is when somebody says something like, you're never going to be able to work in the industry ever. Or because that is exactly the same crap. I'm even wondering if the hell we're talking about the same guy because the experience was so similar. And there are dudes like that.
After the show, we can talk.
I'm going to laugh if it's the same guy. I am so going to laugh.
But I will tell you this. If God, it was pre-pandemic because I haven't been to New York Comic Con since 2018. I don't remember when it was, so it had to be sometime between 2014 and 2018. I was walking the show with a friend of mine, and we ran into this artist, and he was friends with this artist, and he's like, let me introduce you to blah blah blah, and I didn't say anything. I knew who it was, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm very familiar with your work. We were very friendly. And then he was like, my friend said, you got to see what Michael does here. He does these really great cartoony pieces, and he's like, showing me work. So I pulled up my Instagram, and I showed. He's like, and the artist who destroyed me is like, these are fantastic. These are really great. But he goes, because I can't do this, and he's like, I love looking. So he said, I'm going to follow you. So he started following me on Instagram, and every now and then when I post something, I get a like from him. I just sit back and laugh. So.
I ran into the dude, I think in '97.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was before all of that.
Yeah.
And we weren't even at a con. He had a studio in the town I lived in, and I called him at the studio and I said, hey, I'm aspiring to do what you do. I'd love to bring you my work if you don't mind. If you're busy, I won't come by.
Yeah.
You have time to help an aspiring artist. Oh, sure, I'll take a look at it. So I made my way down there. It did not go well.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. You have to have perseverance and you have to have thick skin. Art is subjective. Not everybody has the same opinion.
Exactly.
So,
I've literally sat in critiques as a teacher with other teachers next to me, and each one of us has said different things that the other person either didn't notice, or they're like, or we we really like this part, and then you get to the other teacher, and the teacher's like, I know Mr. Gracia likes what you're doing here, but I got to say you could improve it by doing this,
that's constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I love those panels in art classes. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've been in one, but I was, we were taught to be rough on each other. And so we would say, this is what's not working. This needs to be improved. This is working. I always tried to make sure that I didn't end on what a person sucked with. You always want to end with, this can be improved. This is good. This is a way through this path. Not just, hey, dude, your lines are shaky. You suck.
Yeah. What is it? It's called, what is it called? It's been a while. The critique sandwich. You start off what's good.
Yeah.
Then you critique what's bad. And then you
know, that's how you're supposed to do it from a professional point of view.
Yeah. And that's how I've always tried to handle my critiques.
That's how a person should.
And I will say, professionally, after that guy, I said, I'm never going to get a bad critique again. That's kind of what I told myself. And I worked my butt off that I only had one critique that was negative since then when I became a professional artist.
I've had a couple of, I have trouble keeping things on model because I'm always wanting to experiment with whatever I'm creating.
Yeah.
There's always subtle changes. I can't seem to keep that. And I've been called out for that a couple of times where my book got a rating from a critic from, like a 4.9 to a 3 because he needed it to be a certain way. But at the same point, that's kind of how you discover where your voice is. So, it's a mix. There's always going to be somebody who says something you can improve.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Let's get off the sidetrack because I'm sure you and I could chat about this for such a long time.
Yeah.
Let me just open up your Kickstarter here. Just make sure I'm on the right window and we can share it. Woo. So here we are. You've got the Ballad of Nod books 1 through 3, Rage Falls. Now, unfortunately, I haven't tried. We're going to try to play this. You tell me if you hear it. Sometimes it's a Mac issue. But I used to use StreamYard. I'm on Restream now, so maybe this will actually play. Tell me if you hear it. If you don't, we'll stop the video.
Sure. Now, distant squeaky.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I stopped it. What'd you say?
I said it's distant and squeaky.
Okay, so you know what? I'm not gonna play it. Um, Anybody who is watching right now, I'm going to take the link. So let me copy the link. I'm going to drop it in the comments. You have 8 days from today. Today is the 8th of July, 2026. So if you're watching in the future, hopefully not too distant, you could click the link and back this project here. You're almost at your goal, which is great. So you've already kind of told us. I know we sidetracked. Give us a little remembrance of what the Ballad of Nod is about. Like, because this is specifically really for book 3, but you can get the other books on this Kickstarter. So
Yeah,
kind of without like giving away the majority of the story, kind of give the outline or what you can, the pitch for 1, 2, and 3.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we're at 1 through 3 for the book. So the overall story is that Faye, a young girl, is dealing with the fear about losing her father from sickness, and it's attracted a bunch of nasty things from the dream world. They want to destroy her, consume her, any way you want to describe it. And there's one thing stopping them: her brave teddy bear named Patches. And you get to see him fight demons and some other things earlier on. And eventually you get to the point where the biggest, baddest nightmare comes for her. And he loses the fight and he gets drugged into the dream world. And she's faced with a choice to either go in after him or let him go. And she chooses that she's already had enough loss. So she goes after him. Now, that's where the story begins. But in the second issue, she starts meeting friends, me seeing the wonder of the dream world. And those friends help her get deeper and deeper in so that she finds her teddy bear. And in the third issue, we're going to find him. We're going to find him and we're going to face those nightmares and face those demons and kind of see the repercussions of getting into that part of the story. So in the third issue, everything is going to escalate, both emotionally and physically. And we are going to see her deep inside of the dream world. And the rest of the story, as we continue on, is going to be about her getting out and facing the repercussions of her actions. Now, the book itself is full color. Each issue is around 32 pages. So we're 3 in. That's fully like 96 pages of story. And it's filled with the beauty of this little girl's wonder and love for her family and that teddy bear that has defended her for so long.
Yeah, I love your style.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, this is great.
The other day, I was having a conversation with a couple of writers and another artist, and they're like, "Oh, you're doing so good with the colors, and I love how everything looks like it's watercolor and things like that." I was like, "It does?" They're like, "Yeah, it does." I was like, "Oh, awesome! I'm colorblind, so I can't tell."
Yeah, I'm colorblind as well. So,
yeah.
And you know what? People tell me I'm an amazing colorist.
I'm glad that I think one of the things when you're colorblind, you have to work harder.
You know, I will say this. Years ago, it was like 2000, 2001. For a few months, I worked for Archie Comics as a production artist.
Ooh.
And part of my job was to flat the covers. And one of the things that I did, or what would happen, is when they gave me, and this I mean, I understood color theory from school, but what happened is when Archie would tell me to flat a cover, they gave me all the CMYK breakdowns of the characters, their skin tone, what their jackets look like, whatever it was. So whatever was in the scene, I knew just from looking at a sheet of paper. And it was a CMYK breakdown. So I could be like, oh, well, 20% magenta, 20% yellow, if I remember correctly,
Yeah, you go
equals
by the numbers instead of
the
looking at it.
Caucasian skin tone of Archie, Betty, Jughead, and Veronica. And I'm like, oh, okay, so they all have the same skin tone. I know that. And now I learned that the skin tone for a Caucasian doesn't have to be 20% magenta, 20% yellow, but it's within that range now.
Yeah.
So I could start playing around with color. So understanding how color worked, like that's how it worked for me. And when they wanted a certain green for grass, I knew it. So that's how I learned, how to color professionally.
Yeah,
and then
with me, I just drag my kids in the room and say, "What color is this supposed to be?" And they'll all point at things, and then I just save it so that I don't mess it up later.
I do that to my wife too. I call it, it's sad too, because I'll go to the grocery store and I don't want like women thinking I'm like hitting on them, because I'll ask them like, "Excuse me, can you tell me if these bananas are yellow?" Like I can't tell the green.
I've been there.
I'm just like,
hey, Mike, do me a favor. Let's scroll down a little bit more, because I just did something I'm really proud of. I wanted to share it.
Yeah.
So these two right here are the stretch goals that I just put up. One of them is this amazing artwork Peter Taylor did. He's got his own Kickstarter up, and he and I did a sketch trade, and I announced it today, actually this morning. These, if we manage to get to just a little bit over the stretch goals, basically just to pay for the print, that I'm going to include both of those as a mini print inside of the comic. So Pete did that yellow one, that scary wolf, that's the Phobator chasing after his character and Faye inside of the dream world. I loved it a lot when he sent it to me. I love that yellow. I really was impressed by how clean his lines were. And I was supposed to draw the demon fighting this space vampire character he has as mine. But I got so enthralled by what I saw up there. This one, the one right below it, is what I came up with, which is this crazy blue, beautiful electric flower, and the two of them like finding it in the side of the dream world. So that's going to be a mini print that if we manage to get up to 2,000, I'm going to add that digitally and physically to the corresponding rewards.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And is that a little like fairy in the flower, like with the lightning there?
Yeah, it's a fairy coming out of the flower. Okay. The flower itself is a blue lily that like feeds off the energy of Nod itself. And there's fairies in the book where they're always in the background, like moving around and things like that. And so I use the lightning to kind of like show their flight path and things like that.
Yeah. No, I love it a lot. I like that. I'm a big, I'm a big fantasy fan, so I love when I see these types of things here. This is great. And just out of curiosity, just as an artist's sake, the lily that you drew, did you look at reference for that, or are you familiar with the flower that you didn't have to?
So I had a short amount of time. So what I did is I used an ability in Clip Studio to take the image and break down some of the lines so that I could do all the artwork on top of it to get it more detailed. I've been experimenting these past couple of weeks with ink wash on watercolor, and it's going really well. But I wanted to get the shape of the flower like really specific and things like that. So I used its structure and then did a lot of the colors and overlays on top of it. Okay. Using some of the digital skills instead of using the drawing reference. Just because I wanted it to look like I wanted to play with the light and concentrate my time on that. I had so little time to get the print done for Peter that it was a shortcut that I never take those shortcuts. Yeah, I do them sometimes with background buildings where I want to get really straight edges and things like that. And I kind of use that technique here just because of the time we had.
Yeah. And when you say ink wash over watercolor, are you talking in Clip Studio or are you traditional?
No, I've been trying to teach my it. Okay, it's like I can do it in Clip Studio, and
Hmm.
I do it all over the place.
Hmm.
But I've also been trying to do ink washes as a therapy for myself. I've always wanted to learn how to do it right. I was
Okay.
always afraid of watercolors before, and it's because you can't control them like you control things like your digital work or acrylics.
Yeah.
They have their own path on the paper, and you can't really evade that. Um, so I was trying to teach myself to layer it up and using the hand motions to work on my therapy for a while, and I just got better at it. So now I'm doing them more up to a professional level. Most of this book I did while I was sick as physical therapy.
Hmm.
And at a certain point, I got good enough to be able to put it in the book. And I'm just now feeling like myself. I'd say I'm at like 97%.
Yeah.
So I try to do both right now. For the book itself, I'm keeping it 100% digital just because I'm trying to get it done and trying to get through it. And there's just shortcuts that you can take
Okay.
in the digital because you don't have to waste time scanning. You don't lettering is way easier digital. And because of that colorblind thing, I can save what colors I'm doing and use those colors and not have to recreate them. So those are huge shortcuts. Matching things visually I can't actually do. So there's legitimate reasons for me to chase it down that method.
Yeah. No, no, that's fine. I mean, I work both traditional and digital. For many years, I was primarily digital because that's, it was easier. But I missed, excuse me, I missed working traditionally. So
Hey,
around 20
I'll
twenty
go get
five, I
one of
stopped.
the I'll have my kids bring me one of the ink
Oh,
washes.
okay. When you have it, I'll give you the full screen. But yeah, no, I kind of went back to traditional. And I realized I love inking traditionally over digital because digital I have to constantly undo. I can undo constantly. It's more relaxing and kind of I have to focus. You know what I mean? And I just love that. So milestone. I'm just looking right now while you get the piece. But James will be releasing Scary Children Comic PDF. um,
Those are the milestones.
yeah, I'm looking at this. I love these drawings here. Is this your work or?
No, those are from other creators. The first one I believe is by I think her name is Madeline's.
Oh, Madeline
Yeah,
Salvage. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I see that.
She gave me permission to share her playground book with everyone. And Willow Miss follows, it's got fairies and it's fantasy. So I wanted to make sure I got a chance to help that because it's similar to Nod. That one is a Last Ember Press book. It's really good. They're both in Comics Launch with me. So they
Okay.
were very willing to release that. I'm going to next week add a couple more if we're able to reach 50 backers. We're
Hmm.
right now at 44. We're one away from me having to read my book live, which I can't wait to do that. I'm scared. We just got to the point where Kira has to read her poetry, which I'm grateful for. Um, and we're going to do some stuff with Sean Barber and his series with Drive for Cerber,
Hmm.
which is like a horror book. Oh, down the it wasn't the R pad up there. No, okay. Oh,
You got it, or
yeah. So they've got to go back. They brought the wrong
all right,
thing.
it's okay.
Um, and we're gonna be doing that. I've got to get that one finished. We've also got, let's see here. I've got a couple more that I've been announcing inside of the updates as well. So there's a lot of really good stuff coming out right now.
That's awesome. So, these are some of the covers here. I want to. This is a story so far. Let's look at the reward tiers. Can I just click on that? Oh, um, so everything's kind of on the side here.
Yeah, that's how Kickstarter formats it now.
Yeah. Um, I've never. I'll be honest. I haven't been on Kickstarter in a while.
It's
So
really cool because you can scroll up and down and it just shows the different rewards.
yeah. So beginner dreamer.
Thank
This
you,
is
David.
just for the issue of the ballot, issue 3, and then you have the digital tier at 7, and the digital dreamer tier at 12, which gives you 1, 2, and 3, and the Angry Brain Artworks Library. What is the Angry Brain Artworks Library?
So, Angry Brain is my label inside of Scattered, and what it details is all of the Damage Incorporated books, all of the books leading up to Nod, one of the sketchbooks, the digital parts of Nod itself, 1, 2, and 3, as well as the prologue. So if you back a tier that gives the whole library, it's like, good God.
I remember you talking about some of those books on one of the times we chatted.
Yeah, it's
And,
like 10 books.
yeah, I was going to say it's a lot in there. The Reading Dreamer, $22. This is a physical copy of issue 3 plus the PDF library. That's actually really cool. 27. You get a 10 by 5 print of Patches and Faye facing in. Okay, cool. Plus a physical copy of issue 3 and the P. So really, just for the PDF library, these are totally worth it here. Limited. What's this? Jared Lockhart's cover. So
Yeah,
this is someone else's
Jared
cover.
Lockhart did every week we do a live draw with Jason Doobie, and
Yes.
Jason's one of the guys that is involved with that. And one week he did one where Patches is on the cover with one of Rob Multari's Nightwolf pups, and so I made it the alternate cover for the issue 3.
Can I tell you, Jason usually emails me because of my schedule, what they're working on, and I was
Mm-hmm.
so excited when he emailed me your character, and I totally just, I was telling you before we went on what was going on. I totally forgot to draw your character. I was so pissed at myself because I love your character so much of Patches, and I wanted to draw him so bad, but.
That reminds me that we were doing the weekend was one of my characters, and we were doing the Phobator, which is
Uh-huh.
that scary wolf behind my head.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were doing it, Keith decided to do Misako instead because he loves the jaguar in the book, the one
Yeah.
that's like taking her around the dream room. And so he showed it to me. So I was like, "Hey, that's kind of cool." And so this is one of the equashes that's showing
Hold
up.
on, I can't. Let me
There
give
we
you
go.
the screen here. Hold on, where are we?
So
Oh
this
wow!
is one of the ink wash. I didn't know that this skill was still inside of me at all. I mean, I'm saying that because when you're going through the stroke and going through and trying to relearn, you're literally relearning the skills.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that I could still do this without any of the digital stuff at all.
Oh, that's gorgeous there.
And
And
I'm going to be adding those up into the Kickstarter at the end of the week. This is another one. Oh,
a little hard to see. Yeah,
there we go.
that's great. I can see what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
just curious, just as an artist, what inks are you using for that?
that's just India ink and water.
Okay. Cool.
I just mixed them up inside of a brush pen and then was slow. I layered them up
Yeah.
over time and got some really beautiful effects that I'm very proud of. And I just didn't know that I could still do that. And I'm kind of amazed how they came out.
It's gorgeous. It really is. Um, yeah. No, I have a bunch of inks, and I've been wanting to work more in them. Like my process right now, pencils and inks are traditional, colors are digital, and lettering, and if I want to add whatever halftones or what, all digital stuff. But I do want to do some ink washes again, because I have all this ink, and they're just sitting on my drawing table. I'm like, I don't want to feel like I wasted money, you know.
I had to go get new stuff for that. When I looked at my old stuff, I got it out and I was like, oh my god, it's like ruined because it had been waiting for me for so long.
Yeah.
So I just had to go get new brush pens, which they weren't hard to find. When I was a kid, those were impossible to find.
Yeah. No, I know. I don't even know what I got. Let me see. I got something here. What are these? Oh, these are the Doc Martin Bombay India inks here. These are good. This is a green. But yeah, I got a bunch of stuff here. So anyway, back to this. You have a button tier where you get 6 buttons.
Yeah, I make those by hand. I have a button making machine. I put the stuff in and go, and it like puts it all together. I actually love doing that thing. And I love making buttons out of it. So with each one of the Kickstarters, I make like a collector's where I'm only going to put those in that one Kickstarter, so that it has like series 1, series 2, series 3 kind of a thing.
Yeah. Now I used to have a button. I used to love it too. Collector, Dreaming. So all issues 1 through 3, as well as the print, along with the print, as well as the Ballad of Nod bookmarks and mini. Oh, I guess I think I missed the bookmark somewhere, but that's not bad. There, the Fashionable Dreamer. This one comes with a shirt.
Yep.
At 50, then at 95, the limited one there. It's here. Get a print of.
That's where I get a very high end.
Oh, okay. You
black
get
and white.
Yeah.
Non-color, like artist edition version of it printed out on the big printers, because I'm doing it digitally. I don't have the ability to make the original art version, so I make that one because it's as close as I can get.
Yeah, and then you have a commission tier where you can get a 9x12 piece from you.
Mm-hmm. I think the girl who bought that, she's gonna have me work on a version of her favorite pet staring up at the Nod sky and like his eyes and filled with the stars, and
that's awesome.
The Nod background onto it. That's what I'm going to be doing for her.
I actually love drawing people's pets. I used to cartoon them all the time. And I do these things.
Fun process.
What?
It can be a fun process.
Yeah, I do this thing I call cartoonatures because I can't caricature. So I draw people of what they'd look like if they were cartoon characters.
Yeah, that's kind of how I do it. Like Eli's much better about accentuating features and doing the caricatures. He's awesome at it. I when I do that for people, I just turn them into the same style of cartoon character.
Yeah, I kind of do that. So Hooded Dreamer comes with a hoodie.
Yep,
nice. Tentacles on the right arm. So I wish I could see some of these larger. This is a zip up. That's nice.
I can't stand pullover hoodies. It has to be a zip up.
I'm the same way.
Those tentacles were so challenging to design right and to make them look good on the hoodie, but they came out beautiful.
Yeah. No, I need zip ups. And oh my god, the teddy tier, a patch at $250. Oof.
It is. They're handmade by a woman in Bulgaria, and I work with her to get them done because I wanted to be artisanal, and she does beautiful work.
That is gorgeous. I can just see from the picture. I'm like, that would look cool on my shelf. The Lucid Dreamer custom original. Oh, so you do a 4-page story for them.
I got to do that on the Last Damage ink Kickstarter, where I killed some friends of mine. That was a lot of fun. And then on the first Damage of Nod, I worked with a gentleman in San Francisco to get his story, and it's about him and his pet rabbit, with his stuffed rabbit, trying to chase down a magic carrot in a field where this demon fox is chasing him. It was great.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I mean, listen, you got some great tiers here, great stuff going on. While we're here, I'm going to take a quick refresh on this page because I'm hoping you got a little extra.
So am I. But you never know how that's going to go.
Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
This is great. I just love the stitches.
The stitches are fun to draw. I'm trying to remember where I put them on what arm and things like that.
You don't create like a model sheet for your characters?
I have it for patches specifically because of the stitches.
Yeah.
But when you're when you're just trying to do a smaller panel, you don't always bring out that thing. You're just trying to work to get it done. Sometimes you have to remember where they are. His aren't too hard. He's got, I think, 2 on his right, 1 on his left, 1 on his leg below his knee, and then the belly and his eye.
Okay. Yeah. Because I forget things very quickly, even with the characters I design. So it's beautiful work. So I tend to try to do a model sheet for basically all the important characters, and I'll do one of the characters will always be colored, one of the poses, so I know I can, and I break it down like Archie with the CMYK, so I know what colors I have to use.
That's a good thing to go ahead and go through. I start them. I've got a bunch of damaged characters where I've got like 3 out of the 4 models done. And then on the 4th one, I started drawing something else, and I ended up turning into a print or something like that, because I'll get so obsessed about it that model will become something else.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. I've done that too. It's just because I get side, but I always do my model sheets digitally because they're very easy to do digitally. I don't want to do those traditional anymore. These are great characters, man. I love everything, and I love the coloring of how you have the flames and and the little loose, I guess, flames, pieces of ember there. Gorgeous.
Big shout out going out to Ryan, one of my friends, about that. He does his own book, Mayhem and Mirth. Oh, I can't. He's gonna kill me because I'm forgetting the name. I love that book. He has helped me because he does a lot of really bright colors. He's done some covers for me. He actually did the alternative cover for issue 1. It's fantastic. And he's really good at making sure the saturation and stuff is right. He helped me figure out how to make that yellow like pop instead of just sit there on the page. Yeah. And the yellow behind my head, that yellow, it's all the same color with effects that he helped me design so that it would all look like it came from the same fire. And it looks really beautiful. Ryan Corbell did it. Gave me advice to work on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it looks really nice. I like it. My God, that's awesome. And then you got some covers. So these, I can see the covers a little better here. That is great. That really is. And that's from the stream.
Mm-hmm.
The hoodie is a little. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I could see these a little bigger.
Yeah, I didn't do every single one of them, but I did put up some.
That's awesome. These look great.
Thank you.
These look great. Yeah, I love this. Bless you. My God. Yeah, I got a lot here. Listen, this is a great. Now, I've read the first 2 issues, I believe. I haven't read the 3rd yet, and I remember really enjoying both of the books. I'll be honest, I'd have to go back and reread them to really, kind of point stuff out that I enjoyed, but because it's been a while. But this is I mean, it's good. I remember that, like, I remember really really enjoying what I'm reading, and I look forward to reading issue 3. um
I'll make sure you get a copy of it so you can blurb me.
I listen, I should. I will, dude. I promise you I will. um I know I said that before, and life screws
Dude,
me over.
life happens.
Yeah, life and me have a little we have a constant struggle. So,
Yeah, I know that well.
anyway, let me stop the share. Oh, I gotta find where buttons are here all the time. So bring us back up. But yeah, no, that this looks really really good. And I'm sitting here staring at the the fire image though, with the creature that you were talking about from
Mhm.
before. I just love the way that looks up against it. Um,
I don't like a lot of books are made by where they just throw a flatter at it
mhm.
and get the flats done. And I don't get me wrong, I love that style. There's nothing wrong with it, but it I can't leave it alone. It doesn't feel finished. And I have to add shading and I have to like add layers of light and things like that to make it feel finished in my eye. I want it to
Yeah.
I wish to God I could do it simpler, but I have to make them pop like right there. You can see the fire of
Yeah,
the
that's the picture I'm looking at
yeah.
on here. And I have a whole different thought process on color. So I'm good with just keeping the flats. I don't even need shadows. Um, you know,
Different styles are
yeah,
for different like Sergio Aragones, that the stuff in Gru, it
mhm.
didn't have things like that, but Gru's amazing.
Yeah, it's but that he comes from old school style mentality. He doesn't need that, like, back then, and even into, I would say, up until the early 90s, before computers were coming into coloring. It was it was solid blacks hatching, and then you drop in a flat color. That was
Yeah.
it. And I'm looking. I have a poster from, I don't know, it was early 80s. It's of Papa Smurf. Okay, and it says even geniuses have bad days, and his experiment is exploding. And it's just everything there is flat. There's no shadows on it. And I look around and I see the Flintstones, but then I have a Pinocchio piece up there, and Pinocchio was colored to look with shadows and stuff. So I look around my room and I have a mixture of a lot, but most of the stuff is just
And
flat.
it should be because each story is supposed to have its own character and its own identity. They should not be copies
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all. I'm actually jealous of the work when it is done simple because you could move so crazy. Like Doobie is so crazy fast
yeah,
because the simplicity of his lines are very together, and he does things in that chibi style, and it's beautiful, and it does what it's supposed to do. When
yeah,
I do his girls, like when the Shadowhunters crossed over with Damage, I I I tried to do it that way. I tried. I can't. I have to do other stuff to it, and it doesn't always help every single image. Sometimes it gets overly complicated. I know that,
yeah. I try
but
not to do a lot of shadows if I don't need to. Um, I'm a hatcher, so if I need to, it's just a little solid black, a little hatching. I don't go crazy on it. I was looking through some books. I don't remember which one it was now, but it was a manga the other day. I was just cleaning my bookshelf and I started flipping it, and I'm like, it was just so rendered with hatching, and I'm like, God, if I had to do this, I'd shoot myself. Just like, I don't want to
it
do.
it,
It's beautiful, but
when you get in like one of my favorite creators is Sam Keith.
yeah,
And he was one of those guys where, yeah, he is a hatcher, but he's also a multimedia genius.
Yeah.
And he was the same way, where there were little pieces that would be super simple in one spot to draw your eye, and then really complicated over here.
Yeah.
And he did this mix that I find amazing, and I'm always chasing that same like interaction. But while I'm doing it, you're right. Drawing certain things, like I hate crowds. I hate drawing crowds. Drawing things like that, you can get lost and you can get taken over and you can get spazzed out. You're right. But man, on the pieces and when they're working, it's in that moment you're present again.
Yeah.
And it just you're inside of what you're doing. And it has an effect, and it's peaceful and beautiful, and when it's there, it's you don't worry about the complexity so much of what you're doing. And I kind of broke it down so that I've got like 4 steps I do to
Hmm.
repeat over and over again inside of the nod book to make sure it's all uniform and to make sure that it has the same appearance. I
Yeah.
learned while working with On Inheritance, you really have to boil shit down,
Yeah.
because I did not at first. And it was super complicated, and I did want to blow my brains out first. But by the time I was at the end, I had figured out those 4 steps. And that's kind of led to the ethereal artwork that's in None.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's coming out great, and I can't wait to see everything when you have the whole story all done. It's exciting. I'm excited for you. You know, it
So
just
my dude, it's going to be like 260 pages or something like that,
wow.
because we're about halfway through, and it's already all 3 books are like this, right? So um, yeah, it's going to be this big, beautiful Indigo story. I love where I'm at in it. I love where it's going. I'm it's connected to me in a lot of different ways, and I love the fact that Kira's involved with it, and helping me keep the story together. She, dude, everything that we do has to get past her story wise first,
Hmm.
and then has to, like, then I do all the words and do the artwork, and then it goes to the editor. Then it has to come back, and there's always like some changes or some voices that have to be changed. But the process itself is something that I love, and so it doesn't feel like when I'm doing it like I'm a slave to a master. Because
Yeah.
I'm not a part of a company that things like that. So I can take my time and do it what I feel is right, and I'm enjoying the fact that I can do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, you have to be in. You have to be happy with your final product, and you have to be the one, as the artist, I think, in control, or the creator in control, kind of the final output. So you know, you're doing it, dude. Um. Anyway, I think we should wrap up because it's we've been here almost an hour and a half.
Oh, I
Uh,
talk a lot.
and listen, no, I know I do too. And when you get someone who's as interesting as you are to chat with, um, you know, and I mean, listen, we had a good 30, 40-minute conversation that had nothing to do. It
Yeah,
had,
it's easy to fall off topic.
yeah, we've done that before. It's okay. And I do that a lot with other people. So it's just part of the show, and my fans know. But listen, thank you for coming on. Please hang out afterwards, you know, for a moment. But I
Yeah, we
want
got to talk about that guy.
I wasn't going to say that out loud, but yeah. Sure. Um, but yeah. So listen, it's July 8th, 2026. If you guys are watching this within the near future, within the next 8 days, the Kickstarter link is in the chat. Please go to the link, and you can back the project. And if for some reason you don't see the link, go to Kickstarter and type in the Ballad of Nod, and you'll find this. And I'm telling you guys, it's going to be great. Back it, you're going to love it. It's a lot of fun. So before I let you go, is there a way people can find you, follow you on social media, anything like that?
Well, I have a Substack, and on there, I think James Burton. I'm also on Instagram at James Burton II. And on Facebook, I believe I'm James Burton 8140 or something like that.
Okay.
So I can be found there. And I have a website, which is angrybrainartworks.com.
Cool. angrybrainartworks.com. I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I've ever been on your site. But once again, thank you. And everybody tune in next week. I have another guest. Let me see if I can find out who it is to let you know. Because if it's on my phone, nope, not there. Where's my calendar? Calendar. There it is. Oop, next week on the 15th. Let me confirm this before I don't. But it's going to be a really cool artist. You're going to love. I'm excited to chat with him. So I just got to double check and confirm. My last 2 weeks I forgot the date. So you guys come in next week. I have a great artist coming on. He's done some really cool stuff. You're going to love it. And James, thanks, man. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. We're going to do a little more after this.
So, always good to be here with you, Michael.
Thank you. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. All right. Bye.